Blerd.Talk, episode 10 of season 2, the final episode of season 2. Um, I hope he's okay. Relationships in the black community in general, boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, father, son, mother, daughter, daughter, father, whatever. Um,
I'll go ahead and take the mantle real quick. So I want to address two different parts really quick, and everyone else can feel free to address what you want. The sons and fathers and daughters and mothers. I think a good starting point would be just thinking about the relationship you all have with yours, well, if you have a son or a daughter, but the relationship you have with your father and your mom, and how is it in comparison to anyone else you know of any other race. So I remember for me, I didn't have a great relationship with my mom or my dad in general. I'm a weird outlier because I'm first generation Nigerian here. But even then, I didn't have a really strong relationship where I feel like I could just tell them anything. Like most of my life was just me not telling them things in general. So I would keep them a very stiff arm distance away. That's kind of how things were in my life. And I see from other people, just the majority of people in our community don't really have a strong relationship with their counterparts. So like sons not having a strong relationship with their fathers, or daughters not really having a good relationship with their mom. Like a lot of the times I hear like bickering and fighting, and like the worst of the worst between like women in the side, between the daughter and the mom. And then between the son and the father, usually they just don't communicate. Like they don't talk unless like someone got hit with a car or like they're in the hospital, then they might talk. But other than that, they just don't exist in each other's life. And that's just so abnormal because that's just not a good thing to happen. But it's so common in our community.
yeah, so I'm pretty sure I discussed it with y'all before, but the relationship with my father is not what society says is the ideal father son relationship. Like we have a relationship now, we didn't before. I recognize that the fact that I take what I can get because some people don't ever get a chance to have that relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, my brother doesn't have a relationship with his father, period. So even some people who have both parents in the household still, like Alex was saying, don't have a relationship still, even with them being in a household with them. So I mean, after some trial and error, when I first moved in with him and got to know him, there was several fights, as I've told y'all before, several. but
COMP, come,
but I mean, it's not the ideal. I guess
nah,
that society
scrap
says
every day.
it's completely unorthodox. This is like the most unrealistic ideal relationship you should have with your father. But we are where we are now. I don't talk to him every day. I probably should, but I don't.
Yeah.
He understands that I don't, and I'm not. It's not like any ill will towards anybody. I just don't talk. He'll call me and just be like, "Hey, you all right? Yeah. You? Yeah." He's
And
like,
that's it.
"Yeah." You know what I'm saying? He just so I called him yesterday actually and check up on him because my mom had suggested that I call him or whatever. So I called him. I was like, "Hey, I'm just calling to check on you." He said, "Oh, yeah, I'm doing fine. You all right?" Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, he asked how everybody's doing. And you know what I'm saying? That's on my end. I was like, everybody's fine. So he was like, all right, cool. So my mom was different. Um, like I was always around my mother. Uh, it's like the whole what like daddy's girl thing. So I've always wondered why is that a thing? Why is it that the girls take to the father and the sons take to the mother? I don't know, unless y'all know something or have ideas or we can talk about that.
I'll let Ghost handle that because he's the freshest ass psychology. So Ghost, I'm gonna put you in the ballpark right here and see. Yeah.
Psychology. I'm not really too sure about that.
Oh, okay.
But it is interesting. Yeah, no, because it is interesting how you say that because if you think about it, that is the case. You look at a lot of relationships like between the daughter and the father, and then the son and the mother. So yeah, I really don't know. I haven't looked at any statistics or anything about that. I've always thought it was interesting. Like you always hear the mama's boy, and you never hear
Daddy's
like
girl.
oh, you don't hear that as much. You hear more.
You never hear the daddy's boy. You never hear daddy's.
Yeah, you never hear. Yeah,
you
never hear that.
That's why.
That's why I was saying you never hear like the daddy's boy and nothing like that. But it is interesting to see that correlation. So, but Alpha, what were you saying?
I think it has to do with that whole factor that I always figured it was weird, but like your daughter's first crush is like your father or some bullshit like
There
that.
you go. The psychology theory of it all.
I think that has to do with that.
Oh god.
And so
because like the mother of my child, she would call me and like just be, if it's something pertaining to my daughter, she would like come get her or come, you know what I'm saying? Because I guess they had like a disturbance or something, and I was just like, she's here, she's just chilling, like we vibe, you know what I'm saying? We just be doing that thing. So it's weird, like what makes it like that?
What I just said.
What?
Did you just hear any word that just came out of my mouth?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm talking about as far as like, I mean, I guess
that's why.
I guess.
You know, that's what it is.
He's like, this is official.
I'm just not satisfied with the answer. I want to go deeper.
All right, let me go deep for you for a sec. So there's some theories, I can't pull them out of my head, just things I've read in the past that try and explain it by saying it's a competition of love. So let's use the daughter-father example. So in a 3-parent household, mother, daughter, father, the daughter will compete with the husband's wife for attention. So you will start to see the daddy's girl saying appear, because that, for her, that is the first crush. This is the first instance of love felt, will be that person's parent. So they're going to attach to that idea. And as they grow up in the future, they're going to shape the partner that they choose similar to how that parent-daughter relationship went. So it's very interesting when you start to look at it, is that a lot of people will choose someone similar to their mother or
you
father.
saw that,
Hey, Alan, I'm gonna give you a forewarning, bro. Like, put your guard up, dog. Your door just opened just a crack.
Oh, no.
It definitely
just a cat. It's okay. He's just chilling.
No, he saw Kitty's face. Kitty was like,
I got a camera. Like, it's good. Like, and so okay, just okay though. So, but no, just to finish up though. But that person will be the first instance of identifying who that person loves. So most of the time, the partner that people end up with is very similar to that parent's counterpart. It just kind of happens that way. Like for my example, and it gets really weird. So my mom works as a nurse. She also is a hard worker. She practically lived at work in order to provide, give resources, things like that. The person I picked wound up being in the medical field, thought about being a nurse, stays at work for very long hours, is pretty hardworking. And I'm like, how? There's no way.
yeah, that's
And to top it off, they butt heads immediately, just like how a daughter would butt heads with the mom in a lot of the situations we've seen before. And then over time, that generally will calm down. It does take some time, but generally speaking, it does calm down.
That's interesting. I never had that experience.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people don't realize it, because a lot of the time,
you just don't realize it.
Because the first thing is society norms. They're like, ew, why would you pick someone's like your parent? Like, I'll never want to do so. Like, usually people have to overcome that part first before they can sit there and actually analyze it. But usually your partner has a lot of similarities to that parenthood person.
Yeah, because it's what you know. So it's going to happen, whether you know it or not.
So that's like the entire theory behind it there.
Yeah, from my end, I had good relationships with my parents, my dad and my mom, and my stepmom. That was the one thing like everybody gets all weird about, especially the Black community. It's just like, you're good with your stepmom. Just
I never even knew that was a thing until I grew older. I was like,
I'm like, what?
Y'all supposed to be fighting? Like,
I was like, what? Am I supposed to be throwing hands with her or something? Like, what?
Me right now, I never heard that.
I was just like, every time somebody asked me, like, every time, just like, I even when I came over here, like, they was like, you're good with your stepmom? I was like, yeah, I love my stepmom. My mom's my mom. Like, I got 2 moms. Like, So it's just like, oh, that's so weird. I'm just like, oh, okay. And then they'll be like, yeah, I was like, and then like they'll be like, are your moms cool with each other? I was like, yeah, my mom's cool with my stepmom. Like they're cool because my stepmom raised me when my mom wasn't there, so she was happy that I was good. So
I think we're accustomed to. I can't speak other because obviously I'm not in any other race, but in the Black community, the stepmom is not supposed to get along with the mother. I guess I don't know if that's just like a stereotype or or I don't know what that is. What made
obviously we stupid,
but
but
but yeah, I think that's the like people expect people to bump heads, like the father bump heads with the stepfather or the mother bump heads with the stepmother, and it's just like I don't know why that is. I don't know why that's a thing, but apparently that's a thing. So when that's probably why people were so shocked about shoot, they probably expected to hear some trauma with you.
Yeah, I don't really, but like have like much drama across families. It's just like mostly drama in that one side of the family, and that's it. It's not like across families. Like my dad and my stepmom can go to my grandma's house and all that in Texas, and it'll be fun and games. That's all. I say it the whole time. But between the same families, there's issues all the time, and I'm just like, but that's just family. So, no, I've never had issues with like me and my dad. We both like technology. Like we can talk technology. We used to play talk games all the time. I used to watch him play games, Quake 4 and all that stuff back when. Shit, I love my dad. My mother, she raised me pretty well, really well. So, I talk to her every day. I talk to my dad every day. I fit in a weird group of probably with James also, with a weird group of people of both parents, like just being cool with both parents. That's it. Easy life. Like I don't understand the whole I gotta be scrapping with my dad. Me and my dad. I'm like, did you just try to?
So what it is, and I've recently encountered this. I don't know. I think it's stupid, but there are some mothers who feel like the stepmom is going to come in and take her job or take the love of the child from her. It's dumb. It's the dumbest thing I've heard. Like your child knows who you are. Your child's going to love you unless you're just a shitty parent.
Yeah,
but
I can understand that one though.
Yeah,
I don't think that's dumb at all. That makes perfect sense.
I think it's stupid.
Yeah.
So,
I've heard some stories
think of
about
it this way though, like let's say you're at a job and you're working your butt off to get a promotion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they bring in someone brand new that you ain't never seen or never heard of before, right? And then slowly, as you're working to get that promotion, people are still giving this person more attention than you are for all the work that you've done because you've been here since day one and they haven't. It's kind of like that feel where it's like, hey, yo, like, don't forget about me. Like, I'm here. I'm valuable. I bring value to this. But a lot of the times when some people, some parents, some moms or dads, when they go absent, that child will seek that love elsewhere. And then by the time that parent can become present, or if they do want to become present again, that time is already lost and you can never get that back again.
I mean, I don't know, because with my daughter, like, even when I was in Virginia for all that time, that love was still there. I was actually surprised and shocked. Like, when I came back and her reaction when she saw me, I was like, oh, dang. Like she never forgot about me. I don't know.
But yeah, think of the age, too. What age were you when this happened?
What age was she? Was like 4? No, I can't. No, I left when she was 2. Came back when she was like 4 or 5 or whatever the case may have been. 2012 to 2015. So it was like a few years. So it's like she never forgot who I was. She knew who I was. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm kind of like, I can't necessarily. I could see if she was kind of like, who are you? And she's like 5 years old. That would be like, damn. Like, but I never had to experience that. I never had to go through that. So that's why my perception of it is kind of like, as long as you know, as long as you act, like you said, as long as you're active with the kid, then they're going to know who you are.
Well, I mean, for me, I'll just throw mine in real quick. You already know I'm the only child, so of course, I had a tight family relationship. Mom and dad and everything. But I know what Afro was talking about was relationships, and I know we all have different experiences when it comes to relationships, and um, also like in the Black community, I feel like relationships sometimes, I don't know. I feel like sometimes they're rushed into it too much. So you see a lot of like, single parenting, at least now. Like it starts to see like I start to see that a lot now. I don't see a lot of, parents or whatever like that. I just see like, oh yeah, I'm a single mother, I'm a single father and stuff like that. Like I start to see that a lot. But I
No,
don't
that's
know.
what you start to hear. I'm a single mother. I'm independent. I don't need no
But
man. Just
but I don't know if that's like directed towards like Black communities. I kind of feel like that's everywhere. I don't know if that's
It seems
you
like the
know
media makes it. You
yeah,
would
they
think
make
you
it
would think
like
it's only in the
yeah,
Black
Black
community.
community, but I feel like
Like
that's
every
everywhere with the
Black home
climate
is
we
a
have
broken
now.
home. That's what they like. That's what it's like. Seems to be shown as.
yeah, that's a shown. But at all honestly, we have a really high broken home standpoint.
So why you think there's a lot of no? I'm gonna ask Alex. Why do you think there's a lot of single mothers and single fathers?
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Let's open
So,
up that can of worms.
No, get-
well, before I dive into that, so something I wanted to respond to about Ghost earlier with relationships in general. He was saying how they're not in a sense like what they used to be before, and the change of it. I mean, a lot of us can definitely see a change in what it was when we were growing up between our parents and their generation versus the dating market and what's available now. So I think one of the biggest things in general with our society, and of course, Black America is a part of the society, is I think a lot of the times we kind of give into lust and we give into the immediate desires rather than focusing on what will actually be good for us. And there's a difference between what's good for you and what makes you happy. Those are two totally different things. Things can make you happy all day. That doesn't mean that they're necessarily good for you. And I don't think we make that distinction in our life enough or even talk about it enough to say, hey, I get that maybe doing that chore all day makes you happy, but there are things like bills that need to be paid, people that need to be taken care of, people that require a part of your attention to be well in life. You know, do we spend time on that? A lot of times we just go into our innate desires of just happiness and that's it. It's not always a good thing. But for your secondary part, you're saying, what was your question again? Just so I can
What?
answer it clearly.
Why do you think there's a trail of single mothers and single fathers?
Yeah, that's a big question. That's a whole separate podcast, to be honest with you.
well,
But
just break
like,
it down.
yeah, like a nutshell answer would be we didn't start out this way, and we had a very strong family household prior a few gens ago before the marriage rate started declining. A lot of people from data research kind of pinpoint it from I'd say really two to three big points. The first point being the welfare system being introduced in America and how it destroyed our community. It destroyed a lot of communities in general, but it really targeted our community where it became financially beneficial to not have a male in the household. There was incentive to just not have a guy there. You're talking about different housings that you can get at ridiculously low prices that you're not able to get if there's someone that's working there. You're talking about having kids and just getting all this money from the government to quote unquote take care of you. That removes the male from the household from all of that stuff. Another thing that can be talked about and probably will get flack and demonetization, all this stuff, and it's a whole separate talking point, but feminism and what it's done to our community in particular, and this dream that it's sold that you can just be everything and anything. And it's just a total farce. To get anything in life, you need to sacrifice things. Whether you want to look at it in media or in real life in general, I think one of the best examples, it's a hilarious example to see, is if you look at part one versus part two of the Avengers. And the reason why they failed in the very beginning, and Thanos got all the Infinity Stones and snapped his finger. The entire purpose of the very first movie, one huge premise of it, is the fact that the reason why Thanos got so far is because he sacrificed everything to get there. And no matter how you look at it, he got to his goal. He sacrificed a lot of things to get there, but he did it. He wasn't able to do everything. He set his mind out to accomplish one goal. The entire first movie, the Avengers refused to sacrifice anything. Cap was like, we don't sacrifice anyone. We keep everyone. We do everything like this, right? If they sacrifice Vision, none of that would have happened from there, right? If they made some small sacrifice along the way, they could have saved the entire universe. But instead of trying to get everything, they lost it all. And then when you look at the second movie, they start to make those sacrifices. You start to see sacrifices being made. One of the biggest ones, spoiler if you haven't seen it by now, one of the biggest sacrifices was Black Widow. I mean, that was a huge sacrifice of someone's life to get what they needed. And it was a sacrifice that could not just be undone. And the same principle applies to everyone who lives on planet Earth, where if you want things, you need to sacrifice something. But we live in a society now that tells you can have it all. You can have everything. As long as you work hard enough and you get your eyes on it, you can have it all. And that's just not healthy. But the main person being served that literature is women in our country. Men understand you have to make sacrifice. We've understand that since we were children. We probably tried to have it all before, and it clearly didn't work. So I think when you look at it in that sort of fashion and what is served to each portion, each gender of our community, it's pretty apparent on what the next steps will be. So like the increasing single motherhood, I talked about earlier, giving into lust. So men more often than not, dudes value a high body count. However you see it, I don't see it as a good thing. I never saw it as a good thing. But men generally will, view that as a good thing when it's not healthy to do that. There's a cost associated with this on both sides. But the issue is the fact, who carries that burden? Guys don't carry that burden like women carry that burden. So you're just going to see more and more of this happen. And I mean, the data kind of backs it up right now, especially in the single parent household, and how many people you probably know in your life right now. So that's just a quick nutshell answer.
James.
Well, that's a lot. Like I said, I already
a lot to unpack.
That's a lot to unpack. But I see what you're talking about like the feminists and the impact that it had. But I don't know. I think it also has something to do with like the technology. Like if you see, especially now, like in social media, everything's fast paced. Everything's, it's like a trend. Like everything's
instant
a trend.
Gratification society.
Yeah, instant. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that is really what has been like just destructing everything, like Black communities, everyone, because nobody wants to sit and try to work it out, fix it or whatever like that. They're ready to move on to the next one. Even if they have a kid with somebody, they're ready to move on. Like I remember like back, like, my dad's growing up and stuff like that. I mean, when he was up in New York, he had friends that would have like, broken homes or, single parent. It was kind of rare sometimes to see that. So that kind of pitted him the whole family first kind of thing. And, because that's how he came from a big family. So that's how his family was. And then, you start to see more people starting to come towards a family and trying to be one together. And now it kind of seems like that's kind of falling apart. Everybody's just like, they just want to, feel good, and they don't care about the consequences until later. And then you also see about like the teaching and the parenting and stuff like that. So it's a whole lot that we could actually talk about, because it feels like it's not just one thing that you could pinpoint to, what's the cause of it. It's like a whole bunch of things that's been happening, especially like with this generation.
Yeah, I think social media has kind of ruined a lot of relationships. Regardless.
Everybody likes to put their feelings on that and everything.
Well, I mean, yeah, that too. But I mean, there are people like I know, I have friends who significant others at one point was just so wrapped up in social media, they wanted to be what they saw on social media, and that ruined the relationship essentially. Um, I mean, I guess you could say the internet ruined just relationships overall, but I think it's more geared towards social media, and people are living lives that day, and people are just eating that up, thinking that that's what you're supposed to do. That's how you're supposed to function in life.
Yeah, I
Everybody
forgot.
always says,
I'm sorry. I was gonna say I forgot to mention other thing that we didn't have back in the day was you couldn't like people's posts, you couldn't like people's pictures, you couldn't put heart emojis on stuff.
that
You do
wasn't on
that.
MySpace, I don't think.
Nah, it won't. Now I'm talking like the 70s, the 80s. You ain't have none of that. You got all of that now. You got Instagram models, you got OnlyFans, and you put all that in a relationship.
Bro,
you, got,
that's
you got the what was it? The challenge that we was talking about.
Silhouette challenge.
The silhouette challenge. You got the silhouette challenge.
Yeah, I said that in the messenger with the chick. He was like, "Yeah, why'd you? Yeah, I bet you that if that really happened, that relationship is done."
yeah. Somebody, a lot of women, like once they figured out the silhouette challenge that you could take away the red filter and see the woman like basically naked. A lot of women were just like, "You're invading my." I'm like,
yeah, you're a pervert.
I was like, "Bitch, you put that on the internet. That's your fault." Like from the start. I'll say that is. I was like, anybody can do anything, yo. Back in the days, you take a picture of a light, like a almost see-through like shirt, like not even almost see-through, like and people would X-ray it, and you would be able to see through the whole thing, and that's it's like, come on now, that's the internet. The internet, you know, the internet dangerous. I was like, you know, the internet dangerous. Like, come on now.
Yeah, so I agree with James. Like social media,
with no matter. Something I want to comment on Ghost's side earlier, where he stated everyone's ready to move on to something else, like especially when relationships don't work. I think a big reason why that is because now in life we have what I'll call the biggest illusion of choice we've ever seen in the history of mankind. So, for example, in like a relationship that isn't working well, you know, you're like, well, I have access to hundreds of thousands of people at my fat fingertips. I can just swipe or move on or get someone else and then redo this whole thing.
Yeah, man.
Where before
cause more
life,
issues,
you wouldn't meet people like that. You would meet people locally, and that's all you had to pick with. So you just tried to pick the best one of that. And by best, we're not saying they check all the boxes. We're saying just, are you compatible? Can we make this work? But we don't do that anymore. We have so many superficial demands of people that don't even matter when you actually like start and go through a relationship. So this illusion of choice is actually damaging us more because, I mean, yes, we do have more options out there. Like if you wanted to, you can start swiping through people in Germany. That's freaking incredible. There's people all across the globe you can swipe on. But the reality is, what's the chance of you going to Germany and actually making this happen? Like, is this really going to be long standing? Are you going to put in the work for that? Because that's a lot harder to do than it would be for someone locally. And are you going to be consistent with that? But we don't talk about consistency, and we don't talk about doing hard work. We talk about instant gratification. We talk about, oh, are you happy with this type deal? Whereas saying, you know, are there things in your life that you're doing that are progressing you forward?
You think that's more in the Black community, just in general?
It is in general.
Yeah, in general.
But it affects us a lot worse just because, I mean, honestly, we're in a lot worse predicament than other communities. So anything that impacts them, that impacts us, it hurts us a lot more because we don't have the tools already built to kind of eat that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're talking about generational wealth as an argument, and then let's say a financial hardship happens, if you're coming from a family that has generational wealth, you're like, all right, well, I'll just eat that L and I'll move on. You're talking about from someone who's trying to come up or someone from the projects or someone who's not really great with finances and they get hit with something financial, they're done. And that one car breakdown, done. I'm sure we've all probably been through that. Just, dang, I got a flat tire. Yeah, I'm done for this month. Just, are you kidding me? One flat tire took us out the game. But that's real. It's what happens.
Yeah.
So I mean, it still affects everyone, but it affects everyone differently.
You were saying something earlier, Kenny, or no?
Well, I don't remember. yeah, yeah, dating has always just been weird. The online dating aspect has always been weird to me. I've always been like, I gotta find somebody local. Because I found like I've tried that stuff once, and I found the most weirdest people in my freaking life, bro. Like I was just like, yo, like I swiped right on this one chick, really pretty chick and all this stuff. She was like, yeah, I live in Virginia Beach. I was like, okay, cool, why? And she was like, I want to be near the ocean. I was like, okay, why? She was like, because I want to be a mermaid. I was like, yeah, bitch, all right, bye. I was just like, nah, yo, like. I was like, go ahead and swing with Free Willy, yo. I don't feel like
I mean, I would be like, okay, cool. So what do you like to do?
Exactly. Like you got X already? Like I get it, but come on, man.
God.
Hey, I was just.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I would say dating app experience is a whole nother podcast too. So.
We need one that says tell your best and worst online dating stories. Oh, why you shaking your head over there?
Yeah, he got stuff. He probably got he carry a whole podcast alone.
Carry the whole. It'll be just him. We have all blank screens. And it's just
I just come in here in my journal. Day one.
Captain's log.
But yeah, so
I
think go ahead.
I preferably had that's it. Yeah, that was it.
I think we just need to do better in the Black community. With
you in every podcast like that's like the third time.
Yeah, right.
Is our tag along? It's the very do better.
I mean, but am I wrong?
Yeah, around me and Kratos. Boy, do better.
Yeah, boy, do better.
Before he broke the dude's neck, we need to do better.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think Black community, we need to do better with each other, with our relationships with our fathers, mothers.
But that's systematic oppression, though.
Like, I was about to just dive off into. I'm not gonna get into that.
We just throwing so many
institution
different subjects into this one episode.
There's so many spin-off episodes off of this one.
Exactly.
Yeah, next episode, the oppression of the man.
Next episode, the oppression of the Black man.
Yeah.
Anyway, any closing remarks?
No, I'm good. I think it's a fine episode to close on.
Yes, I think so too. So let us know what you think of relationships in the Black community. Let us know in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned next time.
Alex, stop.
Episode finale.
Anyway,
season 2's in the books.
Oh my God! What, Alex? What the?
You have a good time in the box.